Welcome to another episode of Stand Up Memories.
I'm already angry.
I don't even know what to say.
He came in here and started bitching about how old he is and how he's losing his hair. He looks 30. He's got more hair than any 3 people I've ever met. So I'm annoyed. I'm not speaking to our guest. Who's our guest?
Our guest is John Pizzi. We owe him a solid because he drove all the way from New Jersey in horrible Long Island traffic, and he's a real pro. We are thrilled to have you.
I mean, in all fairness to him, I mean, who would ever expect coming from Jersey through the borough of New York or Brooklyn or the Bronx and then the Long Island Expressway at drive time, at rush hour? Who would expect it to take time? I mean,
all right.
We didn't warn him there might be traffic, because of course there was traffic.
All right, that's...
Now we have that out of our system.
Okay, now that's Jackie the
But
joke
you look
man.
great.
You
do look great.
I was talking about you being old. It wasn't me. I was talking about me.
I'm Peter Bales. This is Jackie the Joke Man Martling. We're here with John Pizzi, a terrific, multi-talented comedian who's been around a while, and that's coming from 2 seasoned pros here. He's got many stand-up memories. In fact, you're perfect for the show.
I would venture that John Pizzi does more gigs than any 2 people that I know, and he'll work a room with 1,500 people and blow them away, and the next afternoon he'll work to 8 rabbis in Jersey. One time I wanted to sit down and make a phone call to him to see if I could come up with something that you would say, no, you just love it.
I love working.
You just love it.
I love making people laugh.
He's a ventriloquist. He has the most amazing dummies, and he's so ridiculously talented. And we're thrilled to give him his props. That now it was America's Got Talent. Was that the name of the show?
Yeah, did 2 seasons of that.
Brought the house down.
The first season was the one that didn't play was better, but it didn't play. The night that it came on, Obama said, "This is, ladies and gentlemen, John Pizzi," and Obama came on to do a speech just like that.
Oh, I would have thought people would assume that was one of your dummies.
Well, he was one of the dummies.
Okay.
No,
I don't
is
do
that
politics.
true? Is that really?
I don't do any politics.
No, and I didn't mean that as a slam against Obama. I mean, I love Obama, but that really happened?
Yeah. He went and did America's Got Talent in 2014.
No, but they wouldn't just rerun it another time?
No, I don't know what happened. I worked really, you get thrown out, you go in, you go out, you go to Vegas, you come back, and then I did this great set in New York City, and it was a standing over set. It was really, really good, and I turned the host, Nick Cannon, into a human dog and did all jokes about, doggy style and all that kind of stuff, and it was really, really good. And I got this great standing O, and I was really excited to see it because it was exciting, And they said, "Ladies and gentlemen, first time here, John Pizzi," and then Obama just comes right on.
Let me
and
grab
I was
that
like,
rug.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, and it was the minute they said your name, and I'm like running over the TV, go, "No, wait, what happened?"
No.
And I'm trying
Who
to turn
switched the
it.
channel?
Yeah,
And it's on every channel.
It's on
right?
every single channel.
That's a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, and I said to myself after that night, I said, I'm going to go back, and next year I'm going to do this again. And I worked all year on creating the app, which became the Virtual Ventriloquist app, which turns people's faces into whatever you want to make them animate.
Right.
Which was interesting, and it took a year and a lot of money and time to do it. And I didn't have it ready until 10 days before, and then had to write the material then, and then go out and hope it would work. And then I did a really good set the second time.
And
then I
killed.
got thrown. Yeah, I killed, and then I got thrown off after that again. So each time I went to Vegas, came back, killed in New York, and got thrown out.
But you had
no
fun.
business. Like, shoot.
Yeah. Well, that's not showbiz. That's an interesting. That's another whole. That's a machine. That's
kind of in its own little box. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it's showbiz. I think it's a money-making machine.
It's marketing.
Yeah.
It's a marketing
Yeah. It's a
machine.
kick and it's a punch in the arm for a performer of some sort. It was fun though. It was definitely fun.
How many miles do you put on your car?
I can't say. It's leased.
It's leased. That doesn't make any sense for comedians.
No, I travel a lot. I live in the car. I really do.
Well, you did today.
I did.
But you love it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you do.
Well, I don't like to drive. I'm getting sciatica coming here today. It was
Okay.
like, took me like crazy, like for almost 4 hours to get here. And it's something to do 72 miles. It's like ridiculous.
We have the oddest bond, and I'm sure we're not the only two, but we're the only two I've come across where you get done with a gig, and I never eat before a show.
Me neither.
And I always ask for a double order of chicken wings.
Me too.
And I have the chicken wings open with the ranch sauce or whatever sauce you have, with the open styrofoam thing, and I'm driving, and I'll take the wing and dip it, and then eat, and I mean eat it right down to the bone. And then toss it out the window because it's biodegradable.
That's right.
Oh, tell yourself that.
And Pizzi's like, yeah, me too. And we call each other, what are you doing? I'm eating chicken.
Eating wing
you
wings.
know.
I'm a
You
big
guys
wing guy. Big
throw
wing
the
guy.
wings, you throw the bones out the window.
Absolutely.
biodegradable.
It just goes into the environment.
They used to do that in the Middle Ages. Just throw it over their shoulder.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
there's an art.
And I
You don't
guess
see any wings, you don't see any bones lying around, right?
no.
See?
Okay, now listen. You do so many
I
shows in a
don't
night.
recommend you children eat wings while you're driving.
Yeah. Unless you want to crap Frank Perdue.
There
That's
you
my
go. Now that's the John Pizzi I know. Now I sometimes do.
Is he
eat-
still around? Does anybody
Frank
understand
Perdue,
that?
he's dead. It's his son
long
now.
dead.
Let's do some Tom Carvel stuff.
Oh yeah, Thursday is
What's
Wednesday.
the story, Jerry? Go ahead.
So I do eat before. When you're low energy, you can eat right before. In fact, one time
You can
I
eat
ate during the show. It's hard to time out your meal if you're the host. I just took up the fries with me and ate during the show.
Is that true?
Yes, it is.
No
That's
way.
great.
Yes, it helps to be a low energy comic.
He really likes to get the audience going. For
Yeah,
the
with
next
low
I know-
energy.
I know that you know what it feels like to have to remind yourself where you are, because you've been in so many places and doing shows. And if you've said that tonight, you're on stage thinking, did I say that at the earlier show or at the current
Yes
show?
and no, because I do. I try to stick more in the private and corporate market primarily. I try to. I'm not a big club guy necessarily. And
So
in
you're
fact-
not doing the Friday 2, Saturday
Yeah,
2.
but I do remember when I was doing the clubs in the late 80s, early 90s, like when you were doing like 2 on Friday and 3 on Saturday. I remember getting that, did I say that? I didn't get that. But I go from one event to another, and every single one may be different in the same day. I mean, it may be, one may be a company party, another one may be a 50th wedding anniversary, another one may have kids there, and it's like.
But
so
they're
it's-
always completely different audiences.
Yeah, and you change that. I change the puppets around. I change the magic, the material, the jokes. I change it according to what's in front of you to fit that audience.
But you're never worried about repeats.
Repeat material.
Repeating
the
anything that
joke?
you said. I mean,
No.
because I do my stupid jokes, and I used to change it a lot. Now I do the same thing all the time. Mm-hmm. But doing 2 shows on Friday and I mean, I get to the second show Saturday, and there's so many times where I'd like, oh, did I say that right? And I would chicken out, and then I go back and listen to my tape. I'm like, you idiot, you didn't. And then finally there was one night where I said, no, I'm sure, and I told a joke, and so he said, you told that 5 minutes ago. I said, oh my God,
I've done that. I have done that.
We've all done that. As a comic, you have to do that. That's
know.
part of the game. What I do is I've come up with this kind of template, a comedy template. So let's say you take this generic template of beginning, middle, and ending of a show, and then I go in and I change that template according to the audience in front of me. So if it's an Orthodox crowd of Jewish people that's going to be super clean and super kosher, I'm going to have the same kind of template, but I'm popping in different material. And then if I'm going in, it's in a family event with kids, or if it's seniors, and I have the template with that fits in there. And by the way, it's a beautiful thing because it keeps you constantly fresh,
Right.
and it keeps you constantly thinking on how to improve this area, that area, how to tweak this, how to tweak that. It's a wonderful thing. When I do the same thing every day for a long time, I want to shoot myself.
Yeah.
Well,
Can't
I do
grow.
want to shoot myself, and the way I keep it fresh is to never book people that don't like my dirty jokes. I just don't.
That's a
I don't
good
go
thing.
near the I don't go near the rabbis and the kids.
I
But I
gotta tell
prefer
you-
the dirty jokes, though. If I did a show the other night, I even put it on my Facebook page. I said, it was 500 guys. Now, I've been working clean a lot lately. Since the pandemic, I learned how to be cleaner than ever. And yet, when you get in front of 400 or 500 guys, and I wrote down, I said, it's like a jazz performer just putting in different bars in and out. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful piece. It is the greatest thing in the world to have freedom to say and do whatever you want and have them all on your side. It's that connection to comedy.
It's like when you're working the kids, you can't slip in a dirty joke, but when you're working all those crazy drunken guys, you can't slip in a clean joke.
No, you can't.
It's like.
But with the kids or families, you can throw in stuff that goes over their heads that they really appreciate. And I do a lot of that. And that's a beautiful, and that's kind of, I think, why I get hired to do a lot of those
Like
things.
the old George of the Jungle thing.
Well, you do magic,
Some, yeah.
and you do the puppets, and you do
Some.
straight stand-up. Which do you?
I'm not really necessarily a big stand. I'm more of a joke guy.
You're
I
a
love
joke
jokes.
guy.
I love 1-2 punch jokes. I like anything that's quick and fast. And I'm a big fan of that just 1-2 punch humor.
So who do
Anything,
you,
the Rodney thing, the boom,
who
boom, bang.
inspired you from the old days? Stand-ups from the old days. Who do you admire?
As a kid, I wasn't. First of all, this is interesting because as I know Jackie, I know you. You as a kid loved comedy from the start. I was a kid like magician. I was a magician. I liked magic.
I didn't like comedy. I liked jokes from the start.
I didn't. I used to think when the old guy from the fruit store would tell me a joke, I was like, this is so stupid, this old guy telling me these dumb jokes. I didn't think it was funny. I remember thinking, I didn't understand humor. I was too analytical as a kid.
I didn't know you worked in a fruit store.
He was there.
He was there.
I had an 8th grade science teacher who would come in the day after the Red Skelton show, and he'd do the seagull jokes. And I would fall off my chair, and everybody else was looking at him like he's crazy, and everybody thought I was sucking up to him to get a decent grade. I'm like, no, it's
You just
Red
good
Skelton.
sense of humor.
I
I didn't have a sense of humor. I was analytical. I was Mr. Spock as a kid, and I loved magic. And what happened is, as I got older, and I got this as I was doing magic shows and things. I started as a kid's performer, actually.
Yeah.
But as I was doing magic, I learned from doing the magic. I wasn't really a good magician, and I was always trying to get a laugh. And I just organically went to that and didn't know it until it happened. It was almost like it found me. And then, as time went on, I started to realize how important comedy was to me later on. Now I study humor now. Learning the Jewish humor became like a big thing. I've dived into it like a book. I love it. I love it. But I didn't understand it before at all.
It's so funny. So you don't know whether you're doing magic to cover up for the jokes to cover, because that's what they say about me and Bates. My band, we played songs and told jokes, and they used to say, "Do you sing the songs to make up for the jokes, or you tell the jokes to make up for the crappy songs?"
I'll tell you, John, I've worked with you quite a number of times over the years. You were one of the fastest comedians I know in terms of laughs per minute. Boom, boom.
Yeah,
boom,
you
boom.
move a million miles an hour.
But you know why?
Miles an hour.
Because when you first start and you get in these crowds and you suck, big time, they're going to eat you up. They're going to say something. They're going to interrupt you. If you go fast enough for them not to be able to think to interrupt you,
stay ahead of them.
You get your way ahead of that game, and that's how I developed that from being bad to learning a skill to go faster.
So are you telling me right now to speed up my act? Is that what you're saying?
I've been telling you for
I
20
think
years.
I think it's way too late.
Yeah.
Now, I was a big fan of Jackie. Jackie, I was a big fan of yours when I first started doing this too. First gig I did like a television was Rascals Comedy Club in West Orange, Perna Communications.
Right.
And you were the host. Matter of fact, you were sleeping in the back room in between the gigs, I remember. Yeah, because you never got any sleep.
I learned a different 8, 10, or 12-minute monologue for every show while I was on the Stern Show 5 days a week and doing other gigs and working the Channel 9 show. And I'm driving along with the list of jokes to remember,
hook 'em.
For 39 shows, I did a different monologue every week, and to this day, I have no idea
still a lot of work.
how.
But you prepared, and that's the key. The prep is the key. Everything's supposed to look beautifully natural. No one realizes how much you have to work towards it.
To make it look like it's. People think, oh, that stuff rolls off. Nothing rolls off the top.
On the other hand, I've been doing the same Jimmy Carter jokes every show since 1979.
Well, in all fairness, everybody doesn't know that because so many of them have left before you got to the Carter stuff.
They're talking about a show called the Rascals Comedy Hour. Now, Rascals Comedy Club in New Jersey, in West Orange, some comedians
say it's the best ever.
Say it's the best ever. Do
It
you
was
feel
great.
that way?
400 people, big rectangular room with the long tables, with the, so everybody's elbows to elbows. That's, because comedy's
Great time.
kinetic.
With a great manager named Danny McKenna, who cared and policed the place. He was on our show. He was a guest on our show. He had great stories
great guy.
Love
about
Danny.
Sam Kinison and Dice Clay.
I remember these days, boy. I remember. I loved it. We used to, there was one in the South in Jersey too, Rascal South and West
Right,
Orange
Ocean
too.
Township.
Yeah, Ocean Town.
Ocean Township,
Yeah.
yes, Rascal Shore. I am embarrassed to say this, but I walked up at Grandpa's on stage, and I was tired. I'd been doing too many shows, and I said, "It's so great to be here in West Orange," and the crowd booed me, and I deserved to be booed.
Oh, that's so fun.
I mean,
For
you
working
just-
grandpas?
Grandpas, yeah.
I remember that club in
Working
Staten
grandpas
Island.
in Staten
New
they
York
booed you on
Lane.
a lot of levels.
I
You
never
know.
really worked that club. I had a problem. The guy didn't like me. It was some problem.
I
Something,
never
don't know.
went there, and he was a pretty good. He was on the Stern Show so much that he was actually, I would call him a pal.
Yeah, but he wasn't
Jake the
really.
Joke Man.
He wasn't
Jake.
really there. He was a patsy for the other people there. It was
Oh
a
yeah, no,
butcher
no,
guy.
it had nothing to do with the comedy.
It was a butcher guy that owned that store. That's you're talking about. This is a long time ago.
It is.
We're really old. This should be prostate memories because we're not talking about.
And Al,
I love it.
Al was on Car 54 in 1958.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
That's
he
right.
was Schnauzer.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, but the show is stand-up memories. That's what it's about. And you know what, John? We talk to comics, and let's face it, 99% of the time the shows are great. 99+% of the time the shows are great. But sometimes when we ask comics, think back when it really went wrong.
It still goes wrong even today. It
Well,
goes
of
wrong.
course,
wrong
he's
for
just
you.
Always
trying to
goes
suck
wrong.
up to you. But there's too much. There's so much room for error.
Whether
Whether it's the sound
gig.
system, the people, the
Right.
drinks.
It's variables. Too many variables.
many
And by
variables.
the way, that's what clubs cuts down all your variables. Everybody's coming in.
Yes.
They're paying you money to see you, and they want to see you, and they're coming with the intention
And they have
of
a
laughing.
sound system and the right microphone.
Everything's laid out.
There's so many of the ducks are lined up as
Exactly.
opposed to walking into. You need a microphone?
Yeah, well, I bring my
or
own
a piece of
sound.
wire
I bring
coming out of
everything.
the DJ booth.
I try to control the space everywhere I go. I've gone to an event where it's in a catering hall and it sucks, and they got like high, 30-foot ceilings and marble floors,
And the closest
people
table
spread
is
out
30
everywhere.
feet away.
Right, and you know what I do? I go in, I get everything to stop. I pull the chair. I make a stage. I make it happen. I bring my own sound. I make the light. I make everything to my advantage. If I die, I've done everything I could to make it work.
Right, I
Right.
totally.
But it doesn't go away. It never goes away.
Comedy is kind of delicate. The sound has to be right. The lights have to be right. The temperature has to be right.
And
you can't
the
go
gel
on.
of the people have to
yeah,
be
and
right.
the people have to be seated properly, and you can't go on during dinner.
I
Why-
did a
That's
show-
another
How
thing.
do they not
Yeah.
understand
'Cause they
that?
think
I
it's
did a
like
show for a
music.
Jewish organization
Stop
outside of
bragging.
Philadelphia, and I got there and the sound system just didn't work. But you want to get paid. And they had the big round tables. I literally stood on top of one of the tables, and it was like working Westbury Music Fair. I'm working
around.
and they loved it. Meanwhile, they don't know. In your mind, you're
You're going
dying,
down.
just
Yeah.
dying. Just
I've had them to this day. I even did a gig this last Friday. I go in. There's a guy who's having a 30th birthday for his son. He saw me somewhere. And can you come do it? And I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. I go in. I asked him, and I always ask before the person hires it. Should you want me to be clean, edgy, late night television, balls to the wall? Where do I go with this? I ask him. Do whatever you want. I got a black dummy. Is the people good with that? Are they going to be concerned? No, it's all good. I go in. The guy's 30-year-old. I find out in the middle of the show he's a school teacher. All his friends are school teachers. They're all very
sensitive.
sensitive to everything, and I just come out with the balls to the wall humor, and everything's starting to get really tense. And now, when you open up Pandora's box, you can't close it. You have
Can't
to
put the toothpaste back in the tube.
John, I
and it
was
becomes the
sitting
most
here.
difficult.
I'm wondering, should I bring this up? And you just answered my question. You and I work together.
Your
not-
wife? Yeah, tell her, please stop calling, please.
My wife.
Oh, is that what
should
you're going to talk about?
No, please. No, you and I worked at a restaurant in Glen Cove.
Oh,
and
God.
You remember what I'm talking about?
I know where you're going, 'cause that was the most
but
bizarre.
seriously, I was thinking about this today. Am I going to bring this up? Because I want to hear what you want to say about it. He has a black dummy,
Smokey.
Smokey,
I've
that is
worked with him a million
very,
times.
very funny. But in 2023, is challenging for some people to accept.
It is.
I guess that's the best way to
He
put it.
probably should have started leaving it home in about 2010.
Well, it's
But it's so
It's
funny,
funny,
and it's so
it's funny,
harmless.
but-
It is harmless. It's
that's-
not. See, the key, and this is another thing about humor, empathetic. I really try to be empathetic towards the audience. I don't do a canned set of everything the same day every day. I try to be empathetic, and by doing that, you're hoping that the people understand none of this is coming from a mean spirit. It's all
Right.
coming
That's
in just
my
humor.
entire thing. Is there is nothing mean about
No.
this. What happens though is, you do a Jewish joke, the Jewish people don't get mad.
Other
The
people get
other
mad for
people
them.
are mad that
Same thing with black and white humor. 'Cause
Exactly.
white people feel bad for other people because they feel
black
repressed.
people are fine with it, but
Right.
you can't say that, you know.
And as a matter of fact, I just taped this first comedy special at the Borgata in February, and I asked the audience after each show, and I've been doing it ever since. I asked them, "Do you believe that this humor has divided us tonight?" And it's resounding. It's never no. It's always no.
And it's so good to hear that.
It is so good to hear that because people are. This is like, this is a strange, really strange time for humor. I don't know where it's going to go, but to me, it seems like there's a 1% making a lot of noise for 99. Kind
After
of.
every show, the people coming out, the older people, the people
Right.
my age, like I'll always say to the women, like, was it too dirty for you? And they'll look at me like, what are you
No.
kidding? You know
Maybe
what I
we're
mean?
relics. We may be relics though, because 30 years into the future, this may be we may have been the old school.
It might be
guard,
gone already, like.
Perhaps. I don't think so though, because like this job the other night with
Nobody's
these
hanging
500
around
guys.
the bar telling jokes, breaking chops. I don't think that's happening.
I think it's happening, but it's not happening in. There's a push of another culture coming in with a creation of a new mentality, which I have no problem with, and I want to deliver what people want. And by the way, we all have to learn new things. If we have to learn a new way of doing things, we do it. I have no problem doing it. It's like a diner. When you go to a diner and you say, "Hey, I want to try the fish," and the guy goes, "You may want not take the fish." I listen to the guy. Don't take the fish. So,
Right.
so it's like the guy knows
I
it's
told
good.
you.
But you think hard before you bring out your black dummy.
Yes and
smoking.
no.
Well,
I mean,
you guys didn't finish that story.
yeah, because what
Well,
happened this
no, he
night is
got-
a very specific thing.
First of all, I was there and I was watching John as I always do and laughing my ass off.
In between French fries.
In between French fries.
And there were 7 comics that night going on.
And it was a fun show, and you were
Yeah.
doing great. And he,
Now, where is this in Glen Cove?
La
La Bussola.
Bussola.
I'll be there, I think, June 3rd or 4th or
Darcy
something.
Novak
It's
kid?
Yeah,
an
it was an Italian
in
restaurant.
Glen Cove on Long Island,
Yes.
wherever you're watching. And it's terrific when restaurants do comedy nights. We love it. We have fun. He's killing. He pulls out the black dummy, which is so funny. And yet, but you're right.
Let's just preface it with something. The black dummy, his name Smokey, is a black character, like a 1970s
Yes.
pimp.
Yeah.
He like the old Beretta. I forgot the name of the pimp in Beretta.
Where he'd go to him for info and
Yeah, but the point is that this Smokey is a character that doesn't like white people, and he says it, and he constantly talks about how bad white people are, but it's done in such a pompous, ridiculous, over-the-top
Such a caricature that-
almost like Colonel Klink was in
I
the
love
old.
that. That's a
Remember
good-
Colonel Klink? It was ridiculous.
Right, right.
But it was a German ridiculous. So
it's a lampoon.
yeah, so Smokey, just to preface it, is a ridiculous, over-the-top character. It's not a mean-spirited thing, I don't like white people kind of mentality. It's something to display the humor between all of us to begin with. And I don't believe it divides us. I actually believe it joins people together if you're open to accept it.
And, John's right. The people who are going to be bothered are going to be white people. I think black people would find it hysterical.
Generally, yes.
You guys are you're teasing me. So what happened?
You want to tell them? Go ahead.
An intoxicated, putting it mildly, woman walked right up in front of
Now
John.
hold on. You're not setting it up.
I'm in the
Are there
middle
black
of the-
people in the audience?
In the middle of his act.
I don't know. I didn't really pay attention. I do know there was a lot of people that came to see me this night because as I walked in, I remember thinking, "Whoa, this person wanted to say hello," and that one, and they were all like women in their 40s, Italian American, Yo Vinny's, and a guy who owned a catering hall, and like a bunch of like New York.
Yeah, it was
New
a
York.
Long Island audience.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
So I was looking forward to get up there. Meanwhile, they had like 6 comics go on, and I remember thinking, I just can't wait to get up there and start pounding it because it's too much comedy. You really only need 2 guys, or maybe 3 and 1 guy for 10 minutes. But they put a lot of comics on there, so it's a difficult closure to begin with.
Changeover.
Yeah,
The changeover.
yeah, it's a lot, and I'm getting squeezed out more and more. And I want to go up and do an hour, and it's not possible. But
you
I
were
digress.
doing great, and I can tell when somebody's having fun, and he was having fun.
I love it. Yeah.
And an intoxicated woman walked up and stood literally 3 feet away in front of the stage.
Well, I got
A
the
woman.
dummy. Yeah.
While he
20,
had the
30,
dummy.
40, 50.
I would say 25, maybe.
So
Blonde,
not an older
pretty
woman.
pretty
Not
girl,
an older woman, no.
young girl.
And just challenged him and said horrible things.
Well,
And
you say
how
you
dare you?
handled it. You handled
You
it.
say
Like a how dare you
challenge.
type thing.
She challenged Smokey.
She didn't. I'll tell you exactly what she said because I remember this verbatim. Like
Oh,
I have a
man.
photographic memory of this. And by the way, I didn't know what it was until the day after because I didn't digest it in the moment the way it was. This is a wonderful story though, and it's one for any comic. Every comic should experience this actually. I never had before. She walked up, and I'm sitting there with the dummy, interacting with the crowd, and she just kind of looked at him first, and then got on her knees, if you remember. And I thought a lot of girls sometimes during your act want to come up and hug or take a picture with the character, or kiss him, or there's like silly, whatever, almost like you have a poodle or a iguana that somebody
Now,
wants to see.
Are you sitting?
I'm
and
standing
holding
on
the
stage, on a little platform stage
dummy?
with
Stage like
Smokey.
like a yay hip,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 1.5 stage that's
a riser.
6 foot square
Right.
in the
Yeah.
middle of everyone around.
Right,
It's a
right.
beautiful
Small
setup.
stage.
Yeah.
And she kneels down.
She first started and just went like this and looked, and I remember thinking that was odd, and I just keep interacting, and then she's blonde, and he's going, "Hey, blonde, what's going on with you?" And we're just interacting, and
So the dummy's, you're talking to her or you're talking to the
talking
crowd?
to everybody, and then I start to talk to her, and the Smokey's making fun of her for being like on her knees, saying blondes are on their knees and stuff, and then she
Why
stands
is
up.
she on her knees?
I thought she wanted to take a picture, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just flabbergasted. And then she stands up and just looks at the character and goes, "This is not this character. Like, how do you do this? Like with this character?" And
like, how dare you?
not necessarily like in this puzzlement of bewilderment. And I'm looking and I'm doing this, trying to maintain everything. And then she says, "And you're making fun of people with these jokes, and doesn't make any sense. And how could you do this?" And now I'm starting to understand she's trying to interact in a negative way, I think. And I take the mic and I said, "Folks,
What is going on in the? Well, is the crowd
there's
just
an
kind of
uncomfortableness, It's that what do you want to call this? A chill, if you will.
Chill,
Right,
everybody's holding their breath.
Kind of like, where's it going?
I stopped eating my French fries. It was awkward.
Like
It was
almost like they're
awkward.
wondering if this is some kind of setup almost.
Kinda, and then I take the mic and I said to the audience, I said, "Hey, I don't know about you folks, but this woman has something. Is there something you want to say?" And I handed the mic in her mouth, and she goes, "I just don't understand you could do this comedy." And I said, "Well, this is what we do, and would you folks like me to continue, or would you like to hear more of what she has to say?" And the whole audience is like, "Get away, get away." And these 4 girls that were at the table behind her, like 40-year-old Italian-American women, I don't want to be rude and cuss here, but they were like, "Get the F out of here." And then one of them stood up and was like, girls, it doesn't have to go this way. They were like ready to pick her up and throw her out. And then the owner came over and took her to the back, and apparently
Where had she come
she
from?
come from the
middle
very
of
back
crowd?
of the
This-
room,
from
the
the
back
back.
of the,
So she walked all the way to the
all the way
front.
to the front and made this statement.
And she was
So
bombed.
everybody, I don't know if she was bombed. I
She
thought,
was under the influence. I
Was she?
assure you. Absolutely.
I wasn't sure. Then the
Oh, I
next
was
day,
positive.
I get a phone call from every comic that was there, and one of them, I forget the guy's name.
Manny
Not
Arias.
Manny.
Not Manny?
The skinny, tall guy who had cancer and he's okay now. Anyway, his comic calls me and he says, "You know what happened yesterday?" And I go, "No." He goes, "You were canceled." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes,
Yeah.
"That's called cancel culture." I'm like, "Get out of here." He goes, "No, it's canceled." He goes, "You ever see when people lay in front of a car and they won't let the guy go, and then he gets out and goes to move them, and then they videotape him punching them?" He goes, "They're trying to get you to react to do that." And I was like, "No, is that really what it was?"
That was John Ziegler, a
Thank
great
you.
comic.
Great comedian.
So if you had viciously attacked her, and somebody had
Perhaps.
that would have.
So he told me that, and I believe maybe that's what transpired, but I don't know to this day.
I think that's fair. I think that's
Is it fair? Okay.
Yeah, and I thought it was inappropriate for you to ask her out at the end of the evening.
Well, that goes
How'd you do?
without
How'd
We're
you
old
do?
school.
It was terrible.
No.
Especially if she was
That
bombed.
was a
You had
joke.
No Viagra.
shot.
No Viagra.
John Pizzi.
So what? So was she escorted out of the joint?
Yeah, they told her you
Yeah.
could either stay and be quiet or leave, and apparently they left. But what happened was after that, I'm doing my act, and now I'm thinking in my head. You know how it is. I'm thinking about
Gotta
everything I say, and everybody's got their phones up taping you. There's a lot of people that taped it, and then I'm thinking, this is not really good because now anything I say after this could be a big punch later.
Right.
So
to
it created-
underline.
Right. I continued. I did set the best I could, and I moved forward. But I remember it did take a good bite out of people. I really wanted to open up and turn the levels way up, and I couldn't do it.
But from my perspective, you got him right back.
Yes, but
and
I.
you
you always-
closed out. You closed out strong. That was my observation. Couldn't have been pleasant for you. You
wasn't-
were.
I don't
That's a good
think
way
in
of
all
putting it.
these
You
years,
were
I don't-
canceled.
I don't
It
think
wasn't
I remember
unpleasant,
anybody
though.
ever physically coming up to this. I'm trying to remember. Because we've all been heckled abominably here and there or whatever. And
You haven't been
sometimes you win,
canceled yet.
sometimes, sometimes there's nothing worse than when they have to throw somebody out. So you avoid that at all costs. And we all do I know you do the dance where somebody heckles you, you don't say anything. Somebody heckles you, you don't say anything. And then the third time, you respond because you don't want to play ping pong.
I try to shut them down right away, usually, with humor.
With humor. I'm getting a signal here. Oh, listen. This has been a terrific show, but we're coming back. Now, we're going to do our regular
Just
closing.
because he did a ventriloquist named Smokey, you're going to cut him off?
I'm not cutting him off.
It's because he's black.
No,
That's
no,
what he's
no.
doing.
We're not canceling
We just got
him.
canceled?
No. What we're going to do, I would say, stay tuned after our usual closing here.
Sometimes he's like the old ranger.
For
I'll
some
tell you
bonus
what we're gonna
footage.
do.
We're going to have some bonus footage. Thank you for watching this wonderful episode with a terrific comedian, John Pizzi. This has been Jackie the Joke Man Martling. I'm Peter Bales, and the show's going to end like it usually ends, but don't go anywhere because bonus footage. I told you we
I'm
were.
going to leave this up to you to introduce this
Yes,
because I have
thank
no
you.
idea.
I told you we were coming back with bonus footage with the incredible John Pizzi and his pal Smiley.
Who I graduated with.
That's right.
You know these guys, right? No, they're too young. All right. They look good. No, they don't. Yes, they do. No, they don't. You know Peter. Hello, Peter.
How are you, Smiley?
Looking good. Good to see you breathing.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
And you know Jackie? Still alive? All
Have
right.
you
listen-
Have you seen our show?
Yes, I have. And that's why I'm leaving. All right.
We appreciate you coming by.
Thanks, guys. Good to see both of you breathing. Yes.
Every time
Yeah.
I see you, you're with John.
That's right. Okay. I drove. All right. Actually, I'm an Uber driver. All right. Now you recognize me? Turn around. You're not an Uber driver. No, no. Hey, just say something nice to these guys, huh? When you look at them, what do you feel? Young. All right. Say something from inside. Okay.
I hope you're going to watch the episode of Stand Up Memories with your friend John Pizzi.
I wouldn't miss it. Stand up memories with two great guys. Yes.
All
Thank you.
right.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Thank you, John Pizzi and Smiley.
Thank you, guys.